I think now that I've seen my data, I know for sure that it was my hormones causing a problem.
Hell yes.
Yes.
Hell yes. I'm telling any woman out there and even man out there, if you suspect that your symptoms are related with your hormones and you're being dismissed or diminished or not even heard about this, there's a hormonal shit show going on that's triggering the downfall and speeding, worsening of your health, period. Hi, I'm Meg UMD, functional and holistic medicine physician and owner of Transform. And if you are watching, and I would love for you on YouTube to click subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you get notified. If you're on IG, give us a follow. And if you're on Facebook, go ahead and join our Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally. Today, we have an incredible interview from Lynn, another classic example of a person with multiple autoimmune disorders. And we're talking about type 2 diabetes. Yes, that's autoimmune. We're talking about rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, periodontal disease, and a heart attack on top of that to boot. So she had quite a few symptoms, quite a few diagnoses. I'd love for you to jump in and see how someone with all these different diagnoses was able to have a huge turnaround. Go ahead and watch. Hey, Lynn, I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Hi, Dr. Maggie. My name is Lynn Skinner. I'm 53 years old, and I live in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. I am relatively recently remarried. We got married in 2017 to a wonderful man named Craig, who happens to have two boys. So I now have two stepsons, and one of them is 18 and the other one is 25.
Wow.
Our 25-year-old has some serious health issues, so he's a full-time project for me. Our 18-year-old, fortunately, has fewer issues. Both of them surprisingly have autoimmune issues, which
not surprisingly. Wait a minute. Now you've learned not surprisingly, right?
Yeah, it is amazing how many similarities there actually are with their cases. Both of them have Hirschsprung's disease. So they both have issues with their intestinal tract. One of them was able to have a procedure and get things rerouted, and our older stepson was not able to. So he has an ostomy, and so he also has severe autism, which I'm learning through your program probably isn't a coincidence.
Yeah, there's a huge link. There's a whole family line of autoimmune disorders. And when we look at our children, looking at autism spectrum, ADHD, eczema, allergies, irritable bowel syndrome, hormonal problems, they're all precursors and linked with autoimmunity. So no longer are you going to miss those signs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing when you start looking into all the different things, just how much everything is interconnected and interwoven with each other.
Okay. So Lynn, what were some of the autoimmune diagnoses or symptoms you were dealing with prior to joining our program?
Well, it started many, many years ago. I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes during pregnancy back in 1995.
You know, that's part of my story. That's the autoimmune pre-warning right there.
Yeah.
Diabetes is an autoimmune disease and it's an early warning signal, but yet completely missed. It was missed in me and it was missed in you as autoimmune related.
Oh, absolutely. And they told me that it would go away and I would probably never have to worry about it again. And that wasn't true, because close to 10 years later, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And that's where I think that's where the slippery slope started. It was type 2 diabetes first, and then I had a heart attack when I was in my 40s.
Yep.
And then after the heart attack, I had a series of stresses and traumas in my personal life. I had a car accident. I had a few other things that happened. And after that, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Then I was diagnosed after the fibromyalgia more recently with rheumatoid arthritis, and then osteopenia and periodontal disease.
So it's that whole cast. I mean, your story and my story mirrors, like, it's so close, it's not even funny. And it's so fascinating how we feel like more and more autoimmune or symptom zebras, when in reality, there are millions of Lynn's and millions of Dr. Maggies running around with these patterns that people are just simply missing. They're all linked with autoimmunity. And once you get one symptom or disease with autoimmunity, you're likely of getting diagnosed with more and more. It just keeps roller coasting.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons how I ended up finding your program in the first place, is because every time I went to the doctor, they gave me another diagnosis for something else. And I kept
Mm.
asking questions and saying, you know, what's causing this? What is the root cause? Why every time am I coming to the doctor and you guys are telling me that I have something else? And you're saying that none of it's related, but I keep feeling like it is related, like something's got to be triggering all of this and what's going on. And I just kept doing more and more research on my own. And one day I ran across your program, and that's how it all started.
I'm curious, when you're talking about a couple things, symptom wise, what do you think were your top 3 or 4 symptoms that really for you was a high pain point?
My main symptoms and my main pain triggers, I think definitely were stress related to
Mm.
begin with, because
So you mentioned emotional, physical trauma, and stress.
yeah,
Big
definitely.
things, big 3.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I could tell whenever I was under more stress, I would have more pain.
Mm.
And the pain would be less tolerable the more upset I was. So if I had a really frustrating day or if something happened, then the pain would become increasingly worse. So I
Yeah.
knew there was a connection there.
So pain at what level was the pain when you joined the program? 0 to 10. 10's the most.
There were days when the pain was at 10 for days.
Mm.
You know, if I were lucky, I would have a day that was a 4 and I would maintain, you know, a 4 for a couple of days, but then it would shoot back up to a 10 again.
So average almost like an 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, besides pain and stress, emotional stress, and what else would you say are some of your biggest symptoms?
Oh, the fatigue was phenomenal. I was exhausted all the time. And
Mm.
no matter how much sleep I got, it wasn't enough sleep. I felt like I could sleep and sleep and sleep, and it would never be enough. And it never felt like restorative sleep.
Yeah.
Like I would sleep and then it would feel, even if I got a few hours of sleep, which was rare, it never felt like I had any sleep.
Well, we talk about sleep and insomnia a lot, and a lot of it you've discovered is linked with hormones. And you don't, if you feel comfortable, can you give us what age you're at? Because this is a pattern that's really, I see all the time. What age are you at?
Yeah, I'm 53. I'll be 54 in May.
And when did this sleep and hormonal shit show really go down?
It started probably about 2 years ago,
Right.
getting really bad.
I tell people that the average person sitting in front of me, yes, is this autoimmune happens with men too, but with women, the average woman that actually we talk to is actually a 48 to 51-year-old woman. And why is that? Now you know. Why is that?
Because your hormones start freaking out on you.
And that triggers autoimmunity.
Yep.
So literally, we see a lot of new diagnosis or worsening of diagnosis around the mid 40s to mid 50s. But at that 45 to 50 range is a big time of change. And that's also the biggest time of hormonal change.
My blood sugar started to get out of whack at around the time that my hormones started going out of whack. And
Yeah.
that's what I talked to the doctor about in the beginning. I was like, something's going on, and I think it's my hormones triggering my sugars.
What were you told when you said that?
They were like, well, it might be, but it's probably not. We'll just up your medication.
What do you think now?
I think now that I've seen my data, I know for sure that it was my hormones causing a problem.
Hell yes.
Yes.
Hell yes. I'm telling any woman out there and even man out there, if you suspect that your symptoms are related with your hormones and you're being dismissed or diminished or not even heard about this, there's a hormonal shit show going on that's triggering the downfall and speeding, worsening of your health, period. So you can't ignore hormones. So that's back to root cause, but I want to ask people want to know, I mean, you just recently graduated from our 2-month online program, and this is just 2 months later, so in 2 months, can you tell me where you are with these symptoms? What are your results right now?
My results have been really, really good and really steady. I've been slowly adopting everything that I've learned in the program, and everything that I've done so far has helped. Everything has given me some degree of help. So I've seen a definite reduction in my pain. Absolutely 100%. I have most days now have very little pain.
So from an 8 to a level what?
I'd say a level 1 or 2.
Woo. Oh, and it took so long. It took 2 months.
No, it didn't take any time at all, which
really?
was great.
So it was way less than 2 months. How long did it take? How many weeks into the program?
I started feeling results probably within the first 2 weeks, for sure.
God damn, woman.
Yeah, it was a big game changer.
Well, and we're talking about pain. So my question for you is, everybody in the audience is going to want to know why, after a decade, 2 decades of all these problems, how come with pain level 8, you were able to, within the first 2 weeks, get it down to a 1 or 2?
Well, the first thing that I think really played a part was, even though I have the type 2 diabetes and I was constantly maintaining or trying to maintain my blood sugar, one of the things that I didn't pay too close attention to is what it was doing very closely throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I think what was going on, and part of what was contributing to the pain, was the fact that the blood sugar wasn't steady throughout the day.
We have in our Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally, hundreds of videos. And I don't know in how many of those videos I actually explain there's a huge connection with these blood sugar swings and pain. But you're living proof and results. I can say it 10,000 times, but they're going to believe you. So what you're telling me is what we taught you in balancing and mastering your blood sugar within the first 2 weeks was able to bring your pain level from 8 to like 1.
Yeah, I think it really does make a big difference in my pain by keeping my blood sugar steady throughout the day. And not just, eating chips or cookies and things like that. I mean, like really trying to keep it steady and level so that you're not dropping as well as not spiking.
Well, I tell people that it's this up and down that's roller coasting all day long that triggers the pain. But the only way to do it is not to just cut sugar. You got to maintain a balance throughout the entire day. And that's the difference between blood sugar mastery and just cutting out sugar. There's a big difference with it between the two.
Yeah, because I had already pretty much cut out sugar. So this wasn't an issue of I was snacking on a bunch of stuff I'm not supposed to have.
Right.
It's really more about making sure I'm eating some of each of the right things that I need to keep it steady.
Gosh, that's so
making
beautiful.
Sure that there's some fat, making sure that there's some carb, making sure that there's some fiber. Yeah, putting together the right combination, like a concoction.
Well, okay, that's huge. I'm a proud mama right here, right now. Okay, so pain went down to a 2. Now you're saying a lot of it was blood sugar, which is within the first couple of weeks. Were there any supplementation that caused that to happen, or really that was blood sugar?
Blood sugar was a big thing that started it, but I also, I had been taking probiotics over the last couple of years on and off.
Right.
I ordered the one from the store.
ProFlora AI.
And made sure that I had a really good quality probiotic for a change. And, because it's hard determining which one out there is the right one to get. But, I trusted the information that I was getting from you, especially since I knew that you had gone through a lot of this stuff yourself. Yeah. So, I wasn't going to reinvent the wheel. I know that you've done a lot of work to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And so I got your probiotic, and I think that's been extremely helpful.
I love that.
I'm getting better sleep now. I'm still waking up a little bit overnight, but I'm still just now starting to work on the hormone supplement. So I think as I take that more steadily, that's going to improve as well.
Well, let's talk about hormones and talk about sleep. Insomnia, how bad was it of a problem for you before?
Basically what happens is I get like pockets of sleep. So I go to bed and I'll sleep for like 2 hours, and then I wake up.
And then what happened to it?
And now I'm getting bigger pockets now. Now I'm up to like
bigger pockets.
Yeah, okay. Bigger pockets.
5 hours are the pockets.
Yeah, 4 to 5 hours.
And this is just within the first 2 months of doing this. And what I tell people, especially with the hormonal improvements, it takes 6 to 12 months for hormones to continue to improve even more and more and more. So within the first 2 months already, insomnia has already improved huge, meaning you've doubled your pockets of sleep. And my question for you on that is, what do you think worked? What do you think was the biggest levers in making that happen?
I think one of the big levers was pain. So
less pain, more sleep.
Yeah, as soon as I started having less pain, I started being less stressed because I wasn't so tense and upset all the time.
I mean, Lynn, pain is depressing. Pain is gnawing, depressing, and anxiety provoking.